Recently, Noah and I went on a cruise with his mom Linda and her husband Jack. We sailed on Celebrity Summit, which is one of the oldest and smallest cruise ships in Celebrity's fleet. I booked this cruise when I saw that it was a Celebrity ship that sailed out of our home port of Los Angeles, and it was advertised for just $86 US per person per night for an Oceanview cabin. It did end up costing a little bit more with the addition of taxes, fees, and gratuity, and a few glasses of wine in the main dining room. But at the face value of $86, I just had to give it a try. We knew that this cruise was so cheap because it was a repositioning cruise, moving the Celebrity Summit to Vancouver for its Alaska cruise season. And we knew there was no guarantee of good weather, especially since we were headed out of Los Angeles, which was deep into its May gray season. What we didn't know was how we'd like cruising on such an old and small ship. We especially didn't know that the winds and waves would be so bad that they would prevent us from going to 2 out of our 3 ports that we were scheduled to stop in. The Port of Los Angeles is just a quick 30 minutes from our home in Southern California, and after our 22-year-old son Cody dropped us off, happy to have the house to himself for a week, our luggage was taken by the porter to be delivered to our cabin later that day. And after what should have been 5 minutes in the terminal, we were ready to board the ship. I say should have because we had a major snafu that cost us a lot of time and $500. I'll tell you all about it at the end of the video, along with some simple steps that you can take to avoid this same mistake that over 20 people had already made, and it was only 11:30 in the morning. The ship that we boarded was the Celebrity Summit. She was built in 2001 and is one of Celebrity's Millennium class ships. She holds just 2,218 passengers with a crew of 936. This compared to Celebrity's newest ship, the Celebrity Ascent, that holds 3,260 passengers and 1,430 crew members, a total of 1,536 more people. I didn't know if because of the age of the ship or the size of the ship that there would be fewer food options, if the entertainment would be lacking. But I did know that the ship had been refurbished in 2019, and from all the reviews that I read, I was hopeful that we wouldn't be disappointed. We walked onto the ship and were immediately directed to the casino, which is where our muster station was located. The process literally took 10 seconds with a quick beep as the crew scanned our boarding passes. From the casino on deck 4, we took the stairs down to our cabin on deck 2. Our sea passes, which is what Celebrity calls their cruise cards, were waiting for us at our door. I find it very efficient, but also very interesting. What if somebody else just came by and picked up your sea passes? When would they be found out? It must not be an issue since it's a common practice on many cruise lines, but it does make me wonder. Celebrity allows guests to drop off the items they carry onto the ship before going out to explore. Our cabin wasn't cleaned yet, but we were happy to leave our bag with its allotted 12-pack of Diet Cherry Coke. It was lunchtime, and we were hungry, so we headed up to deck 10, which is the pool deck, where the Mast grill serves hot dogs, hamburgers, and fries. I like to grab a burger on embarkation day since the pool deck grill usually isn't crowded, and it's fun to compare the burger and fries on the different ships and to get out on the deck. I would give the burger and fries an 8 out of 10. The food was served from warming trays, and to me, fries are only good if they are so hot that they practically burn your tongue. After lunch, I decided to go ahead and explore deck 10. To get to the bow of the ship, you walk from the main pool deck through the Solarium to the fitness center. There were tons of sea loungers, and every single one had a towel on it. There were even nice warm blankets that we used numerous times on the ship when we sat outside. These were the little things that set Celebrity apart on the premium end of the cruise line scale. After crossing the pool deck, I entered the Solarium, where I found the indoor pool. It always make me feel like I'm in a terrarium with the humidity at about 95%. The pool in the Solarium is a thalassotherapy pool. Try saying that 10 times fast. It's supposed to improve circulation and help with joint pain. This warm, swirling bath might just tempt me to pack a bathing suit next time. The Solarium was my first glimpse at the unique art on Celebrity Summit. I knew that Celebrity is known for its art throughout their ships, and the Summit didn't disappoint. It would often make me think of the phrase, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." As I continued walking towards the front of the ship, I passed through the spa, which looked like a lovely area to get a massage or a facial, or even relax in its Persian garden. On the other side of the spa was the fitness center, which had plenty of cardio equipment and weights, as well as an aerobic studio, where they held a variety of classes, including Zumba and yoga, for a fee. I headed up to deck 12, which is the highest deck on a Millennium-class ship, as compared to 15 decks that you will find on Celebrity's newest Edge-class ships. On deck 12, I got my first look at the Rooftop Terrace, which is where Celebrity plays their outdoor movies. It looked like it would be a comfortable place to hang out on a warm day, or even to snuggle up with one of those nice warm blankets. Maybe with a cookie. Also on deck 12, groups of people had already found the pickleball court and were having a great time. The retreat sun deck is also on deck 12 as well, but it's reserved for suite guests. I'll add that fancy schmancy perk to my cruising bucket list. By now it's 3 o'clock, so Noah and I headed back to our cabin, hoping that our bags had been delivered. We found one waiting in the hall outside of our cabin, and then went on a quest to find the other one. It didn't take us long. It was just down the hall waiting to be delivered, so we just grabbed it and made our way back to the cabin to unpack. As a tip, throw an air tag in your luggage, and that way, if it's not in your room yet, you can track it down. There were plenty of drawers and closet space in our well-organized cabin. This was our first time with an Oceanview cabin, and I loved having the natural light and the view of the ocean. Everything in the cabin had its place, and the bathroom was well-designed and modern-looking with its glass shower door. Unpacking on embarkation day is a must. For one, it gets your clothes out of the bag, and if it has wrinkles, I always bring some wrinkle release, and I spray it on the clothes, give it a couple spritzes, and let it hang. That way, when you're ready for it, it's ready for you. Unpacking also keeps the hangers from clanging against each other in the closet. Once the bags were unpacked, we stowed both bags easily under the bed and decorated the doors before heading up to the pool deck for the Sailaway Party. While the live music with party band New Image was jamming, the audience was small. Nothing like our Sailaway on the Majestic Princess last year, where the entire dance group came out with a mini production show right there in the piazza. Sailing out of Los Angeles isn't the most beautiful view with its Godzilla-sized cranes and thousands of steel cargo containers, but it is interesting. It was a bit chilly out, and everyone was using blankets to keep warm. This fella thought the sleeper statue looked depressed, so he worked to make the blanket into a cape. Now, to me, the statue looked like a tired-out superhero. We left the party at 5:15 and headed to the main dining room for dinner. One of my favorite parts of cruising is eating in the main dining room, and Celebrity sets the bar high. On Celebrity, you can choose traditional dining with a set dining time or anytime dining where you just show up when you want. When we arrived at the Cosmopolitan restaurant around 5:15, Rumi made sure that we got the same servers each evening. We got there early so that we could eat and make our way immediately to the 7 o'clock production show without having to skip dessert. The main dining room on Celebrity Summit is spectacular. It is at the aft or back of the ship, with a wall of 2-story glass looking out to the back of the ship. The chandelier reminded Noah and me of jellyfish, and your waiter might just have taken a picture of himself before service to display as art. We sat in these throne-like looking chairs a couple nights, and if you lean back in them, the voices are amplified. It was kind of weird, but it also kind of made me feel like a queen. Our waitstaff was amazing. Singmila and Sunil remembered our names and our preferences after just one meal. But I think the most remarkable fella was Risky. He let us know that it's pronounced risky, like risky business. Noah only ordered a beer one time in the main dining room, and Risky remembered that he likes Peroni. It was remarkable. Jack ordered what became his nightly signature meal of shrimp cocktail as his appetizer, salmon as the main, and apple pie a la mode for dessert. I think having a few regular items on the menu is good for people like Jack, who knows just what he likes and can eat it every single day. Noah, Linda, and I took advantage of the variety that came with the nightly menu. I did have escargot on the first night and found them to be a delicious garlic butter delivery device. It was on the menu nightly, but once on a cruise is enough for my arteries. Every night there was a seafood option and a vegetarian option. Depending upon the night, there was also lamb, beef, pork, duck, and pasta. One thing I was a little disappointed is we must have missed lobster night on the night that we ate in the buffet. And we did that because we didn't want to miss sailing under the Golden Gate Bridge from the cruise ship. So I would say that outweighs the lobster. The main dining room tip is to try it all. I often ordered 2 appetizers, 2 mains, and 2 desserts if more than one caught my eye. And more than one caught my eye at just about every meal. Some favorite appetizers were that escargot. Really try it. You might like it. Also, we love the presentation and the taste of the organic roasted red beets. My favorite main courses included braised beef short ribs on a bed of creamy truffle polenta, slowly braised lamb wrapped in phyllo over potato puree, and roasted root vegetables and the aged prime rib. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Linda loved the vegetable korma. Now that I look at the description of spiced seasonal vegetables, ground almonds, coconut milk, I think I missed the boat. She also enjoyed a toasted Israeli couscous cake with asparagus spears wrapped in zucchini ribbons with a balsamic vinaigrette. No, like the rigatoni with prosciutto in a Pinot Grigio cream sauce with pecorino cheese. He left the mushrooms for me because even though he's a fun guy, he doesn't like fungi. Ha! Everyone's favorite dessert of the sailing was the chocolate lava cake that was served on the first night. But that didn't keep us from trying to top it each evening, ordering New York cheesecake with caramel, creme brulee, and dulce de leche crema catalina, which is kind of like creme brulee. Even with all the amazing desserts in the main dining room, you still can't beat the cookies. They were pretty much stocked up and taken down throughout the day, every day. My favorite were the white chocolate macadamia nut cookies, since the peanut butter cookies were sugar-free for most of the trip and could break a tooth. On the very last day, though, celebrities stopped holding out on us and served up a full jar of regular peanut butter cookies, which were well worth the wait. I'm going to share with you where to find those delicious cookies. But before I do, can I quickly ask you to like and subscribe to my channel? Cafe Al Bacio is located on Deck 5, which is part of the 3-story atrium that overlooks a beautiful lit stairway that goes from Deck 3 to Deck 4. Evidently, the specialty coffee and teas were good, because there was always a line and the place was packed. Daily specials included French pastries, yummy desserts, and jars filled with cookies. The specialty coffees and teas are part of the drink package or can be purchased as you go. An easier place to pick up a cookie was at the buffet at Scoops Ice Cream. Scoops is included in the standard fare, and the cruise serves up soft-serve ice cream, hand-scooped ice cream, and desserts. But the cookie jars were self-serve, which might be the reason that they emptied out so quickly, with people, I'm not naming names, taking 4 or 5 at a time. I found something so helpful at the entry of the buffet. It was a map that showed where all the different food stations were located and how many options there were. It was easy enough to take a lap to zero in on exactly what sounded good for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. At breakfast, I was happy to see that they had not one omelet station, but 2. The one was on an island, and many passengers overlooked it, so that is where I headed to avoid the line. I was amazed at how the cooks were able to flip and catch the omelet in one smooth move. A word that sums up the buffet is mouth-watering, since my mouth started watering as soon as I passed that bakery that was located just inside the buffet entryway. Second word that I would say is your way. I know, it's 2 words, but if you say it really fast, your way. And the reason why I say that is because there were so many options where you could go and they would just make it right in front of you. I love that. One morning, we ate breakfast in the main dining room, which is our preference on sea days, and thought that we would use the tables in the buffet area before lunch to play a game of cards. We sat in the perfect location to see what soon became the most elegant and inviting centerpiece I'd ever seen on a cruise ship. a chocolate fountain. I was immediately drawn to the marshmallows, the mini donut holes, and the fruit that the crew twirled in the decadent cascade. It quickly became the buffet hotspot, and I was so glad to see that it was served up by not one but two crew members, so that grubby little and big hands wouldn't make the whole thing inedible. Do you agree with me that the chocolate fountains and the soft serve ice cream are better if they are served to you than a free-for-all? Leave a comment below. The buffet went around both sides of the ship with lots of seats, and you could also go outside by the pool or to the back of the ship by the Sunset Bar, which was lovely when we sailed out of the San Francisco Bay. The buffet had lots of big windows where we could look out and see the rolling seas, but the outdoors weren't particularly inviting on this sailing, which made the indoor entertainment that we participated in after lunch and dinner even more appealing. We spent a lot of our time in the lounge that we found at the top of the ship called the Sky Lounge. Here they would have trivia and game shows pretty much every day, as well as late night parties that included a silent disco, which was hilarious. Guests wear headphones and tune the channel to their preferred style of music. Everyone is dancing around and singing along, but other than the guest voices, the room is silent. Because of the poor weather, they held celebrity signature full moon party in the Sky Lounge instead of on the pool deck. At this party, guests wear white and neon glow necklaces are handed out to add to the party vibe. My favorite part of the Sky Lounge was the games, and we signed up for them all. A couple that I played included a password-style game called Say It, where one partner has a word that they need to describe to the other partner. Whoever guesses the most words in the time given wins. Noah took the part of clue giver. We didn't win since I got stuck on raspberry, even with great clues like small, bumpy fruit that you put on desserts. I guessed blueberry, cherry. I was just stuck. Noah could have passed, but chose to persevere, thinking surely I'd get it. Finally, he passed, and we quickly got 6 in a row. But by then, the time was up. The other game I played was a game called Finish the Song, where you finish a song. I am terrible at knowing the names of songs, artists, and words, so I don't know what I was thinking when I signed up to play, other than I enjoy playing games, and really, I don't mind making a fool of myself. Okay, if you're like me and you want to play the game, but they have a song that you don't know the words, this is what you do. When it comes to your partner supposed to say the words, you turn the microphone on the crowd and you get them all to sing the song. And then that way they don't know you don't know the words. The best part of the Sky Lounge and a smaller ship was that you saw the same people that always enjoy trivia and games. I met this lovely mom and her daughter duo named Shirley and Kelly from Pittsburgh. In addition to trivia and game shows in the Sky Lounge, there was live music with musicians in the Rendezvous Lounge on Deck 4. This lounge was filled with comfortable tables and chairs and was a great place to gather, listen to music, or read a book, or play a game of cards. To get to the main theater, we walked through a big shopping area. I love to window shop these high-end stores, and it always makes me wonder, do they make money? And what do people buy? But then I think they must make money or they wouldn't be there. The main theater was beautiful, and I knew that we'd spend our evenings there since we are huge fans of live entertainment of any kind. Looking at the design of the room, I was impressed. I love theaters that have tables like this one on the summit that have a convenient place for your drink or even a cookie. In the evening, the celebrity production cast of singers and dancers, backed by a live band, performed 3 different shows, which featured aerialists. The aerialist couple was so strong and impressive, I could have watched them every single night. Our sailing hosted the comedian Sean Kent, who was hilarious. We went to the 7 o'clock show, so the comedy was kept PG-13, which really is what I prefer. The main theater stage also showcased Lou Gazzara. His rendition of Elvis songs were amazing, and his range was incredible. All celebrities' performing arts were outstanding. Their visual arts were represented all throughout the ship. The art ranged from quirky to interesting to really kind of bizarre. As we walked around the ship, we couldn't help but notice this guy. He kind of looks like he's in ecstasy in his sleep. What do you think? Leave a comment below. One staircase boasted these beaded heads, one floor after another. They reminded me of Carmen Miranda, minus the fruit. Another staircase held these glass and clay statues. I think this one looks like a swan, and Noah thinks this one looks like a bunch of corn dogs ready to go in the fryer. What do you think this one looks like? Leave a comment below. Ship was older, it was smaller, but I don't think we missed a thing. It had great entertainment, great food, great service. Everything was really good. I really do feel like it was a steal at just $86 per person per night. But don't worry, I know, I still owe you an explanation for the $500 mistake that happened at check-in. Here it is. We got to the counter. Noah and I gave our passports. We were checked in, no problem. We were ready to get on the ship. Seriously, in less than 5 minutes. Now, Linda and Jack, they're next to us. They're getting checked in by somebody else. Linda gives her passport, no problem. Jack hands his passport card. He doesn't have a passport. He has a passport card, and he has that because where they live, they go by land, they cross to Mexico, and they come back. Well, you can go by land and by sea with a passport card, but you can't fly with a passport card. So the poor agent says, how are you going to get home? And he says, oh, we're going to fly from Vancouver to LA. And she says, no, you can't. She says, you can't get on a plane with a passport card. And our hearts just sank because we were thinking we weren't going to be able to get on the ship. But she explained, we'll let you on the ship because you can cross into Canada with a passport card. But what happened then is you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get from Vancouver across the U.S. border by land. So basically that first day was spent figuring that out. And in the end, it all worked out. They took a bus to get from Vancouver, British Columbia, to Seattle, and then they flew out of Seattle. But it cost so much money because they lost the airline ticket. We couldn't trade tickets because they were on an Air Canada flight. And Air Canada only flies from, you have to have one end of your trip has to be in Canada. So they lost out on that. They had to get last minute flights from Seattle to LA. They had to take a bus. So it ended up being an expensive mistake that I'd like all of you to avoid by, making sure you have a passport if you plan on flying. To learn more about other mistakes people make on their Alaskan cruises, make sure you watch this video next. Happy sailing!